Hi, my name is Vanessa Siegel. I am in Dr. Marcus Alexander's website optimization class. This is a critique of Sammy's students' website optimization plan. Okay, first of all, I want to commend Sammy's student on the business-like presentation of this site optimization plan. It's actually quite excellent. What's funny is that I had not even considered when I wrote my site optimization plan to use this business format, and I have no idea why not, since we had used it previously in another report, and it was stated at the beginning of class that this would be the optimal structure to use. And so I have no idea why I did not use it, but excellent job, Sammy. Well, since this is a presentation about Sammy's work and not mine, let's just get on with it. Okay, the use of formatting techniques is an area especially in which Sammy has done another excellent job. For instance, the use of the table of contents at the beginning of the project, the use of figures and so forth in that table of contents, also the use of bold, italic, headings, indentions, everything he's done in setting it up to make it more readable and easy to understand. He's just done an excellent job of this. A report like this can be very tiring and sometimes even difficult for a customer to understand. And it's just not true in Sammy's case. He really has done quite an excellent job. This makes the report easily 20% better just by such an effective use of the formatting techniques. Another aspect in which Sammy does a very good job is in the use of graphics and multimedia. Well, actually, he doesn't really use any multimedia, but he does an excellent job of using graphics. And what I mean by that is not just that he has the correct number of graphics in there, which he does, or they're in the right position, throughout the text, which they are. But what I mean more specifically is that the graphics actually do enhance the experience. He actually uses the graphics to substantiate the points that he's making. In that aspect, you couldn't ask for anything more. Okay, I'm only going to take one instance to be kind of very specific, and that's to talk about a particular goal. In the report, there's a goal number 1, and under that there's a sub-goal number 1, and that is reading exactly, increase number of page views by 5% within 12 months. The metric is number of page views. And here's the important part. And I'm going to read it exactly. It states, increasing the amount of page views is a sign that customers are interacting with more of the website. It is a sign that users are more engaged and are exploring more pages than they have in the past. Okay, Sammy is stating that more page views means that a customer is spending more time on the site and viewing more pages. It might mean that, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. For instance, another way that page views could be increased is that you have more people visiting the website. I mean, it's just an arbitrary number. Let's say your page views previously was 75 and now your page views is 100. All you really know is that 25 more pages were viewed. You do not know if those 25 more pages were by a current existing customers. In other words, did the existing number of customers view 25% more pages, which is what he's stating. But it could also mean that you had more visitors who viewed the same amount of pages as they had previously. So this is just a wrong assumption to make about this one particular goal. It's a fine goal to have because indeed increasing your page views ultimately could lead to more customers, which ultimately will lead to more repeating customers. But there's not a direct line between increasing your recurring customers and increasing the number of page views. They just do not have a direct correlation. Okay, now I get to the meat of the issue, content. Okay, Sammy does an excellent job of setting up his performance indicators and the metrics. They're extremely clear and on target. For instance, the SMART goals have all of the SMART elements. They are each goal has a clear target and a time period in which that target has to happen. On the other hand, it almost appears as if the numbers were picked randomly and not specifically to each target. And let me explain what I mean by that. There are 5 goals, of which every one of them has the numbers 5% and 12 months in it. So whatever it was, decrease the bounce rate, increase the page views, it's always by 5%, and the time period in which to do it is always 12 months. Things just don't work like that in the real world. There would be clearly, some variances in those numbers. One metric, we might be able to increase 30% in 3 months, and another one, it might take 12 months to get 2% of a change in. So that's just one aspect that makes it seem as if the numbers might be a little bit hokey. I don't know if that has anything to do with the fact that this is a report that was written not by a real person. Anyway, the next aspect of the report that I want to comment on is the overall tone of it. While it does sound completely professional, I have found that at times the report, it sounds a bit too technical. I'm even in this business, and I have a degree in computer science, etc., etc., etc. But even in my situation, I sometimes had to read back over a sentence a couple of times to clearly understand the meaning or to grasp it its context in relation to the other information. So it's only a slight critique in that area. Maybe just make it a little bit more everyday language sounding. Okay, well, that brings me to the summary of this report, and I would just like to say overall, my impression of this report is that it is quite an excellent report. Of course, there are some areas in which it either shows that it's not a valid or true report based on true data, or if that's not the case, and let's say it was written by a real person with real data, it could indicate that they didn't put in quite the right amount of work. If that was the situation, it would impact my decision to hire this person, Sammy, for this job. Because, for instance, the whole idea of the 5% within 12 months on each of the goals, that sort of indicates that enough research wasn't done into each thing. Okay, so if this was a real person, if Sammy was real, and if it was about a real company, I would immediately question this, and this would actually question the information enough that I'd have serious hesitations in hiring this person based on just this one small critique. And it's funny because of all of the information that I've talked about on this report, I really feel like that he's done an excellent job. But in fact, it is also true that that one aspect would change whether I hired him or not, based on whether it was true information or not. So let's talk about if it was just because it's an arbitrary report, and let's say that a real report written would have had some more believable data right there. Okay, if that was true, this is definitely a person that I would hire. I wouldn't even have, other than stating the things I did about the critique, I wouldn't even have any suggestions on how to improve it. I think that overall, with the small tweaks, it could be improved, but didn't need to be improved for me to hire the person. Okay, is basically what I'm trying to say, because it was an excellent report. So there you have it, my summary of Sammy Student's overall site optimization plan. My name is Vanessa Siegel, and I would like to say thank you very much for all your help in this class, Dr. Alexander. And I know that we don't have any classes together again, but I hope that I can take your class on an audit basis in the future, and if that's true, then I will hope to see you in the future. And at that point, I'm hoping I'm feeling better too. Okay, thank you, and good night.